Tonight we get on a journey that Timothy Maurice shared with one such woman. Take a look at this conversation with Nobesuthu Ndlovu. She's a co-founder of Burgundy Fly, a chain of stores specializing in African couture.
We're so excited. We're about to go into the C-suite of the founder of Burgundy Fly, an up-and-coming South African retailer that is changing how we see boutique retailer for women. We're really inspired by Burgundy Fly. We love what you're doing and how you're giving a platform for South African designers. What really inspired you to create this platform?
So we started this business with two problems to solve. The first one being, let's make South African designer wear accessible to the South African market at an affordable price. So I was a worker, earning a decent salary, at least I thought, and I couldn't afford a dress at 2,000 Rand or 2,500 Rand. And I thought, if I can't afford that, who exactly is affording this designer wear? That was the first thing. The second thing was accessibility of South African designer wear, which we simply couldn't access unless you knew somebody or knew a friend who was a designer. So our customer is any self-loving woman between the ages of 25 all the way through to 65, confident with herself and wants to always look good. So we're not only looking at people going to work, but it's people at work, funerals, unveilings, tea parties, whatever it is where you want to look good, but classically good. So we're not a trendy store. We are a classical woman, beautiful, confident, powerful woman.
What are some of the challenges you faced getting your brand off the ground?
So when we started this business, we had absolutely no background in retail or fashion for that matter. And we started the business, like I said, with those two problems to solve. We had just completed our business course at Gibbs. Going into it was an absolutely amazing experience. The first 2 years were obviously quite challenging in terms of us understanding price points, designers, and the logistics of the sector itself. So our biggest challenge in the beginning was just how do we set this up as a functional operation that can actually make financial sense for ourselves and for the designers. We pivoted the business a couple of times from buying to consignment, which is where our business is at the moment, making absolute sense for ourselves and the designers. Our second challenge was just ensuring that from a designer perspective, we get designers who are business savvy. So in as much as this is a very creative space, it really requires designers who are highly commercially viable and commercially sensible as well.
What are you learning about retail that works?
What we've learned is how do you ensure that A, you're thin and lean in your operation, B, how do you make sure that you are constantly on point in terms of your operations and your interaction with your suppliers to ensure that it's a mutually beneficial relationship. So the biggest lesson has been ensure that your relationship with your suppliers, in this case our designers, is beneficial for both of us.
Why choose the mall? What was it, foot traffic? What was it?
I'm 100% business minded. In a mall, you've got foot traffic that is guaranteed.
Yes.
So our malls that we've picked specifically because of the foot traffic that comes into the mall, the marketing that is done by the center managers in the mall, and also the marketing team engagement in each mall. So getting into retail is detail. You need to know your numbers. You need to know what your costs are, what your profit margins are, so that you know that this business makes sense or not for you. Because the last thing that you need is to be frustrated. Landlords are not interested in the fact that you haven't made sales previous month. They want their rent. Secondly, take some time to actually understand who your customers are. Test the concept on a small scale, and then when you're ready to go out big scale, you've already got a view of what your market looks like and who your customer is.
Tell us a bit more about where you're headed, where your brand is headed relative to around South Africa and around the continent.
We think our continent has a huge opportunity, and we constantly get people from out of Africa also asking to supply via ourselves. So already Burgundy Fly has been seen as a potential of a conduit into the South African market, and we certainly want to be a conduit into the rest of the African market and over and beyond into the rest of the world. We are 100% focused on making sure that every customer that comes in gets value for money and gets something beautiful. Because let's be honest, clothes should not be as expensive as they beautiful clothes should not be that expensive.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you,
Tim. Thank you very much.
All right.
And we look forward to the future.